Hello, Serendipitous here with another video for the board game shelf. Once again, I know that this is a Harry Potter trading card game two-player starter set. I know, of course, this is technically a trading card game product, but like I said before, I'm putting this in the board game shelf because it is a self-contained experience. Obviously, you could, of course, break this up and just like any other trading card game starter set, you could break this up and make your own decks and everything. But yeah, so a few months ago, Cobweb and I were kind of like walking around in a part of town we don't usually go to, and we discovered a card store that we hadn't been to before. And I noticed in one of their glass cabinets, they had a box full of like 8 of these. And it just kind of caught me off guard because, obviously this game has been out of print for quite a while. And also, people's opinions about, Harry Potter and the Wizarding World have certainly changed over the years. I personally still have some nostalgia for the Harry Potter trading card game. I still have all of my cards from when my sister and I would play together. And I think we did have a starter set of some kind. I don't think it was this one specifically. I think it was potentially maybe a like the base set or something, because there were about 3 or 4 sets in the Harry Potter trading card game. This one is from the Diagon Alley set. So anyway, this is only $35 because, Harry Potter cards are not really much in demand, so they're not crazy expensive. It essentially comes with two starter decks and, an instruction booklet and a playmat that you need that tells you everything you need to play. So, but yeah. There's advanced, basic rules. What they recommend is that you take this mat out, and I actually have another one of these from when I was a kid. But yeah, this is going to be a bit difficult because it's like all like folded in on itself. It's like trying to unfold a big like map or atlas or road atlas or something. Anyway, so let me just attempt here. So this is essentially what it looks like. A bit unwieldy. A bit unwieldy, but there you go. It's meant to be this enormous mat here, and it essentially tells you how to play as well. On the edges here, it explains how the game works. Start here, and kind of like explains. It's a pretty simple game, honestly. You pick one of the 2 decks that you want. You put your wizard or witch card right here. This is kind of like your character, like in Riftbound or in other trading card games, you have sort of a character that represents you or gives you a particular passive power or something. You shuffle your deck and put it into your deck spot, and then you draw 7 cards for your starting hand and decide who goes first. So on your turn, you draw a card from your deck, and if you have creatures, you would have creatures kind of like out here. Excuse me. Sorry about that. You would have your creatures over here, and after you draw a card, your creatures would deal damage to your opponent, and then you have 2 actions. Your actions, you can play a lesson card. Your lesson are basically your energy or your mana, essentially, and you would place them here. You can play a creature card. And add them here. You can play a spell card, or you can draw an extra card. If you have 2 actions, you can do the same thing twice if you want. You can play 2 lesson cards. You can draw 2 extra cards, whatever. You can play a lesson card and a creature card, or 2 spell cards, all that. All right. And then it kind of talks on this side about what the types of cards are. And like I said, lesson cards are basically your mana. You do not, as far as I understand, you don't tap them or exhaust them. They're just there. And as long as you have enough lesson cards, you can basically play whatever you want. And lesson cards have a type as well, whether it be potions or character magical creatures or transfiguration. You don't, and there are some cards that need 8, 9, or 10 lessons, particularly powerful ones. You don't need 10 of, for example, I know there's at least one card that is the green potion symbol and requires 10 lessons. You don't need 10 potion lessons, you just need 10 lessons in total, and at least one of them needs to be a potions lesson. So, pretty straightforward. I'll go ahead and also on the back, it shows basically a full card list of all of the Diagon Alley cards as well, which if you're interested, you could look up, the full card list and see all the images if you wanted and everything. But yeah, there's that. There's the mat. Again, the starter set recommends you play the on this mat, a few games on this mat before going into any advanced rules that goes into like more specific rules or anything like that, right? There's also a couple of booklets here, even tell us what you think. A bit late for that, but and then a full card list for, in this case, the Diagon Alley set and the Quidditch Cup set. Anything else? Oh yeah, and the base card set as well. There's at least one more set after this. I think it was Chamber of Secrets. I'm pretty sure. Also, there's a Chamber of Secrets set. I don't think there's any more besides that. Anyway, like I said, there are two decks. One is based on Draco Malfoy, and the other is based on Hermione Granger. So, oh yeah, I guess there we go. I'm pretty sure this is the Hermione one. Yeah. So this is what a Witcher Wizard card looks like. You would choose one of these. In this case, Hermione. If you already have 2 or more lessons in play, then whenever you use an action to play a lesson card, you may play 2 lesson cards instead of 1. So, the bookworm, basically, the teacher's pet, kind of makes sense that she would let you play more lesson cards. And here, in this starter set, in a normal game, you would have a 60-card deck. But in this starter set, you have 2 40-card decks here, and you can combine them if you want afterwards or whatever, right? Yeah, lesson cards, they look like this. We have charms and care of magical creatures in there. Should be in there. And then, so this is what a creature card looks like. You can see that this costs 4 lessons. So you need at least 4 lessons just in general, and only one of them has to be a care of magical creatures lesson. I didn't actually explain how you win. Whenever you take damage, you actually discard cards from your deck. And you lose when you run out of cards in your deck. So the game actually goes pretty quickly because of that. Creatures are one of the most consistent ways to deal damage. Creatures will basically have 2 stats besides cost. Damage each turn and health. So, for example, if I had a Scottish stag, then towards the start of each of my turns, I would deal 1 damage to my opponent, meaning they would have to discard one of their cards. If I had, for example, a Scottish stag and a quintuped, I would deal 3 damage total, because 2 damage from the quintuped and 1 from the Scottish stag, and so forth. You can have multiple copies of a creature at a time as long as you can pay the cost, essentially. The health is amount of damage that it can take before it is discarded, essentially. So there are a lot of spell cards that allow you to do damage, either to your opponent or to a creature, and that's how you can get rid of your opponent's creatures. And spells, they just look like this, and they would have a type of lesson and a number. And spells basically just kind of happen. They are an effect that just sort of happens right then and there. So, for example, this swarm, count the number of creatures in play, yours and your opponent's, do that much damage to your opponent. So it's specifically saying do that. So you don't do that damage to any of your opponent's creature, just your opponent directly, right? Here is a charm spell, freeze. Costs 3 lessons. 1 has to be charms. Spell, choose one of your opponent's creatures in play and do 4 damage to it. So, of course, obviously that would not be enough to destroy a Scottish stag or a quintuped, but there are plenty of other creatures that have that much. Here's a more powerful charm spell, Bluebell Flames. Do 4 damage to your opponent or to a creature of your choice. Right? And some of them, of course, will have quotes on the bottom from the books themselves. In this case, this is a scene from the first book in which, of course, Hermione is getting rid of the devil, is putting the devil's snare at bay, so all 3 of them, her, Harry, and Ron, can run away to safety, right? So, anyway, yeah, like I said, this is the Hermione deck. Each deck has a foil card. I have them in these plastic sleeves here because there's something about these foil cards. They're sticky. They actually are like sticky. So probably can't, must have been something to do with age or whatever. But in this case, River Troll, to play this card, discard one of your Care of Magical Creatures lessons from play because, so it's an extra cost essentially besides the 5 here, because he does 4 damage per turn and although he only has 3 health. So yeah, the foiling on this and the other foil card is actually sticky. So I decided it would be best to just kind of preserve it that way. Here is the Draco Malfoy deck here. His wizard card says, during your turn, you may use an action and discard a card from your hand to look at your opponent's hand. You may then choose one card in his or her hand and discard it. So kind of leading into the fact that he's a bit of a bully, right? Kind of using, information about you against you. Yeah, obviously, and of course, yeah. So creatures are very much like a staple in a lot of decks, right? Because again, consistent damage. Boa Constrictor, 4 cost. Damage each turn is 2 and health is 2. So has Care of Magical Creatures lessons. But the other type of lesson in here is Transfiguration. You might think it's potions, but I guess in this case they chose Transfiguration. So Epoximize. Choose one of your opponent's charms lessons in play and discard it. So goes against Hermione specifically, right? Let me see if I can try to find a, here you go, Transfiguration lesson there. There's also Potions lessons, and also in the Quidditch set, that introduced Quidditch lessons as well. And then I know Diagon Alley introduced like item cards, and I think there are other types of cards like quests or a match or things like that with various different mechanics as well. This is the foil card from the Malfoy deck, Norbert. So to play this card, discard 2 of your Care of Magical Creatures lessons from play. Damage each turn 5, health 3. So a bit of an extra cost because it does more damage than the River Troll, although the cost is actually a little bit cheaper. So I guess it's kind of, probably fairly balanced that way. But once again, the foil is sticky. So, yeah. There you go. That's pretty much what you have in a starter set for the Harry Potter trading card game. I got it mainly because of nostalgia. And I wanted to teach Cobweb how to play the game. I don't think it's a game that we're going to be playing much, if ever, really. But, I have all my childhood cards, and we have these as well, so it's just kind of a fun thing to have. I did consider getting a second copy of this and just keep it sealed, although I don't know what for, because it's never going to be that valuable. Not that I usually care about like value anyway. I guess it's just kind of cool to have these kind of like relics from like my own childhood, and also from the this is yet another game by Wizards of the Coast, right? So here we go. Yep, Wizards of the Coast made this game. So I just think it's kind of cool. It's cool to have this around. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And until next time, all the best.